Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Discover New Music podcast from us at Pelt Music. Shortly, we'll be chatting with Stunt Pilots after we featured their latest single, "Sellout," on our Discover New Music playlist on Spotify. But before then, the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening. Absolutely delighted today to welcome Stunt Pilots to the Discover New Music podcast. We've got Zoe, we've got Farina, and we've
Hi
got
guys.
Monet. And I hope I pronounced you all correctly.
Yeah,
That was
that's
all correct,
perfect.
Paul.
That's
Yes.
exactly perfect.
Perfect. Well, it's amazing to have you on. Exciting time for the band. So there's a few things that we are going to get to talk about over the next sort of half hour. But the first thing is, we always start off with the same segment, and it's called the origin story, which sounds a bit superhero-esque, but it's for obviously listeners that are discovering you, for the first time, just to give a bit of a background about the band that I'm talking to. And I'm guessing yours is going to be quite an interesting story, to be honest. Probably a lot more interesting than some of the other bands that we've had on, not to sort of put them down. But, it's an interesting story to how Stunt Pilots have arrived. But it's your story to tell and not mine. So I'm going to hand over to you. So how did Stunt Pilots come into existence?
So, Stunt Pilots, I think it was formed like around 2020, was the middle of pandemic, and I had just returned from LA due to pandemic, and my best friend is Monet. We are neighbors. We live in Garbagnate Milanese, which is like north of Milan, half an hour away, and he had been friends with Farina for about like 4 years prior to me actually meeting Farina, because Farina had moved up from Naples, from Naples out to Milan to pursue music, and he would go to jam sessions, and so would Monet, and so they would be best jam buddies, and just kick it every week in this pub called Boom. um, and once I came back from LA, I had I finally had uh, I guess some songs that I wanted to actually try and produce and jamming with them. We immediately like erased all that I had in my head and figured out that a new vision was possible, which was blending rock music with electronic music. We had so much energy due to having been locked up for so long that we just wanted to push out, and such a similar story, because we all come from rock music, and then we evolved into production, and so we just followed that idea, and we started right away writing songs, and just pursuing that vision, that electronic rock Stunt Pilot vision.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that journey, obviously, started out in the pandemic, as you say. As a lot of the bands that I talked to on this podcast, similar kind of story, obviously, being a new music podcast. A lot of bands came together
Yeah.
during that time.
Mhm.
Obviously, did that present any challenges to you logistically, or were you able to navigate it?
Uh,
Um, I would say so. I would say that it was hard to even just get in a room and just practice and just like play and write stuff. Uh, Even going to recording studios was challenging. We ended up taking a trip all the way to Poland, which was kind of like a risk because we weren't even sure if could actually, pass some borders. But everything went smoothly, and I feel like we are generally blessed in hard situations that go against us. We know we have the universe that kind of uh you know
helps us.
helps us find a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that way obviously eventually led you to fans that know obviously Stunt Pilots already, led you on to X Factor Italia, which obviously the X Factor in the UK finished about, I don't know, about 6 years ago. There hasn't been one for a while. So obviously
That's
it's great that there's still that avenue to explore in Italy, and great as well that actually it's quite diverse in terms of musical genre that they accept. Whereas in the UK, a sort of a heavy band such as yourselves, a sound with as yours is, wouldn't really sort of get anywhere in the UK version. So I mean, what was the experience like for you over in Italy with it?
the thing is,
Uh,
we were go ahead, Mone.
I mean, for us was pretty fun because like we took that not exactly as a challenge, but just like a thing to do, think like three friends that just go there and just play. And it was like also a thing like that we didn't have any expectation about that, just win or stuff, or we weren't that in a challenge mode. No, we were just there to having fun. And I think it's a blast to do an experience like that with my best friends, so was like we had a lot of friends, like we met a lot of cool people, and it was just a fun thing to do. And it was
Yeah,
just for us.
the thing is, we started like in small clubs and stuff. Like we individually already were playing in small clubs, but then when we ended up like having a band together, we started to play those same clubs, and then we were like, why don't we even try to go on TV? I mean, that was kind of, Paul, it was like the same kind of vision you have. We were like, is Italy is gonna understand what we are bringing, especially in like English language. It's like, okay, well, they really are like into Italian music. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why it means a lot for us being like completely in English and being understood for the story we have. It's like wow, there's like a new landscape to discover.
Yeah, we were really really lucky about that, because we were like the only issue was like they gonna understand us. Like, this is the only question that we always ask to each other, was like they people, the Italians, gonna understand us, and was just the only thing, but another way we just had fun.
Which is fantastic to hear. It really, really is, because that's what it should all be about, isn't it? Is enjoying yourselves, having fun, and obviously the success that you've had come out of it is a bonus, as you'd sort of say, and obviously leads us to where you currently are, with obviously the Takeoff EP that's just come out. But before we get into the EP itself, I just want to talk about SELLOUT, which is one of the latest singles to come from it, because we've featured it over on our Discover New Music playlist, and we always like to ask about the song that we've put on the accompanying playlist to the podcast. So what can you tell me about SELLOUT? What is the song about? How did it come together for you?
So go ahead.
Yeah, I think SELLOUT was just like our way of reacting to the whole X Factor, experience, and just kind of, we like to open discussions with our songs and just kind of paint the landscape and let people just kind of dive into them and have their own opinions around them. But I think that really the essence of that song is just a message towards being authentic and not being changed by the desire for money or the desire or other people's opinions. Just kind of being yourself and having confidence that what you have is enough. And so yeah, we just kind of told a story that was a little bit surreal and was a little bit ironic, but it was just our way of communicating to people how we had lived after the experience, after the X Factor experience, when the cameras were off, and that was our little story.
Yeah, and it's such a great song. Really, really enjoy listening to it, and I bet it goes down really, really well live as well. But before we get into that side of things, just on Sellout and the music video. Regular listeners to this podcast know I always ask about the music videos because I'm a music video lover. Grew up watching music TV as a teenager, you know, and just really appreciate the art that is music videos. Obviously a dying art these days. It's not quite such a big thing as it used to be with MTV and everything in the past, but you know, I still feel it should be. And I love when there's a good video for me to ask about, and I love the video that goes along with Sellout. Fits obviously the theme of the song, which is always a big tick for me because I love a bit of a story that just furthers what the song is telling you. So, who gets the credit for the video? You know, who come up with the concept, and how did you go about putting it into practice?
Well, the thing is, no, like we are always brainstorming each other. So it's always kind of like an idea that is like put it on a table and it's like morphed and transformed during the brainstorming phase. So it's like there's not really like a director of these specific idea. I mean, we were just like, what's the feeling of it? What we are feeling, like, you know, escaping from this kind of like feeling the pressure of the industry, you know, like that's mainly the feeling. Like we want to be ourselves, you know. We want to. Also, we were like having fun to like introduce small Easter eggs in the video that then everyone are gonna like understand later in the career, hopefully. That's that's it. That's
And then
mainly it.
another thing that really inspired the video is also like the aesthetic of 90s music videos. And you mentioned MTV, and we, you know, we love Foo
Exactly.
Fighters, for example, you know, that whole aesthetic of actually having a story rather than it just being a mood. So, you know, even not taking, you know, ourselves seriously and just being funny about the hardships. I think that that was kind of the way that we wanted to tackle that.
Yeah, and I think you did so really, really well. And I love the Foo Fighters reference around not taking yourselves too seriously. I think that's something they always did really
Exactly.
well in their music videos. So yeah, listeners definitely need to go and check it out. There'll be a link in the bio of this episode for them to do so, and definitely I point them in that direction, as I do point them in the direction of obviously the EP that Sellout comes from, which is the
Cool.
Takeoff. So again, link in the bio. Listeners, go and have a listen to the EP. 5 great tracks. Now, yeah, for the listeners that are watching this, that maybe haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, how would you describe the EP to them? What should they expect from it?
So
I would say that the EP is an explosion of ADHD, electronic energy, rock energy that will we strive to, you know, always keep the attention quite there, quite present. And so it's just like a mix of things that hopefully haven't been heard before. We try and, you know, blend genres together, have sudden changes in the rooms and tell stories that make people reflect, but not necessarily giving our opinion on them, more so just painting a picture and then letting, you know, people kind of, you know, form their ideas around, you know, even edgy topics. I feel like social topics and so yeah, the EP it's you know, kind of represents the name. It's just like this thrust of energy that you just want to, you know, drive fast and believe in yourself. You know, we have many fans that will play our songs, you know, before going and taking an exam or before you know, going for, you know, some sort of competition, stuff like that. And I think it really that's what the music, you know, is meant for in our case. You know, it's about giving yourself the confidence that you know, you can be what you want to be right now, the way that you are.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great description of it. And listeners definitely encourage you. And as you say, like listening to it before an exam or something like that, I think it's great gym music personally. If you're gonna do a
Exactly,
workout, yeah.
exactly.
It is.
So
So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely worth checking out. And I touched on earlier as well with Sellout, a song that probably sounds really, really good live. I know you've been playing a few shows already this summer. You've got maybe one
yeah,
or two left. How
yeah.
have the songs from the EP gone down live? How have you enjoyed playing them as well?
I mean, like we worked a lot on making those songs sounds uh, in the right way when we are live, like because we don't go with amps. We just have our pedal board, so we worked a lot on the sounds, and we are not ready yet because we worked, but it's not perfect yet because yeah, there's some songs that like sound lower, there's other song that sounds louder, and it's quite difficult, but like we worked a lot on that, and even with the help of our producer Fua, that produced all the 5 songs with us. He's a crazy producer, go check it out because uh we got really a lot of fun with him. But yeah, we worked a lot on those songs, and playing those songs live, it's like a roller coaster, because some songs are more chill, like Trying or Blame It On Me, so you don't know how people gonna react, like they're gonna stay still and they're gonna just dancing or stuff like that. And other songs are so energetic and so even kind of metal, like Man Up has a crazy guitar sound, and we worked a lot on those sounds. And but at the end, like playing those songs and seeing people that sing is those lyrics, and seeing people that going crazy under the stage is like the best thing ever, so yeah, it was pretty challenging, but we managed that, and we're having fun.
Again, absolutely the most important thing, isn't it? To be having
Yeah,
fun in what you're doing for sure. And the songs are so fun. They're going to go off live. I
yeah.
can tell without even having heard them, which brings me to my next question. Obviously, Italian-based band on a UK-based podcast. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. And I know it's not as easy as listeners perhaps sometimes think for even a band in the UK to be able to book a UK tour and go out and play in the UK. It's quite a challenge in itself, especially in this day and age. And obviously, for a band coming from Europe, we've not made it easy for you with Brexit and everything like that. We really don't like to help ourselves. Is there an ambition, for Stunt Pilots to come and play in the UK? Is it something you'd like to do?
It's
Man,
our
I mean, Paul, that's a dream. Like that's our
it's our,
dream, man.
we
That's
always
like
always aim on that, like we always work
we,
a lot for having a tour outside. We hope that in the next year is gonna be,
yeah.
you know
We hope that's gonna be real. But anyway, yeah, that's like what we've always dreamed of, like London, those kind of like clubs in London. Those would be like awesome.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, speaking for the whole of the UK, and I think I have authority to do that. We absolutely would love to have you. So, I mean, yeah,
Oh,
will be
definitely, yeah.
if you know some clubs or some organizers, I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely needs to happen. And obviously, listeners will have to come and check you out when you do come. And I always point the listeners to social media. Just obviously go and follow the band on social media at Stunt
Yeah.
Pilots. You can find them. That's the best way to stay up to date. So if in the future, these shows can materialize, can happen, listeners hopefully will have heard the EP, checked out the video, and they'll be ready to come along and rock out with you guys at a show. And yeah. Absolutely, fingers crossed that it can happen. I know that I'll
Yeah.
definitely make the trip and come and see you if it does.
Or
To finish off the podcast, we obviously start talking about the live side of the industry. We always finish off with a segment that I call Set List Science, which is pretty simple, really. So I'm a music video geek. I'm also a set list geek. I love to just pick the brains of the guests and just see what you think of, how you go about creating a set list. So the first question from me is just simply, how much importance do you place into the structure of your set lists, and have you got any rules that you tend to follow when making them?
So,
I think that an important thing that we learned through the years is blending songs together, having an intro, having tension at the beginning, having release in certain moments. It's there, you need to have a set list because that allows you to then play around the fences that you know you have built. And so having a set list, you know, gives us comfort, and it gives us, you know, the ability to play around that skeleton. And as I said, we like doing, as Monet was saying, you know, we like doing ups and downs. So we will try and have people go through many emotions over a few songs, or having, you know, sections that are very high input and then sections that are more relaxed. Yeah, I mean, I think, what can we say about the set list, guys, other than this?
I, like I said, it was like it's like a roller coaster. Like we tried to give different emotions. We were talking about, right, guys? We were talking about today how it's important to make people dance, but at the same time, how it's important to make your live set, make people listen to the music that you are playing live, but listen, like concentrate about that. You know what I mean? Like, and for us, it's pretty blessing, you know, like seeing people that not even like dance or not even, but listen to the music that we are playing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That that's really satisfying.
Yeah, it definitely has, you know, its sections with their vibe. You know, we have people going dancing and then singing and then hopefully, you know, tearing up and then being joyful. And then we also like updating the set list every now and then. So we have some songs that fit very well together that we know we try and medley together. And so we can, you know, kind of shift them around as blocks. But even for the people that come and see us, you know, several times, we try and, you know, mix it up, so that, you know, it feels fresh and exciting every time.
Yeah, which sounds great to me. A great way of thinking about it, and again comes back to me for that fun word, and obviously making it fun for the audience, but fun for yourselves to play as well, and a roller coaster, as you say, which is a great way of describing it. So you certainly sort of passed my test on. I can see that you got a good passion for the set list sort of creation. You're not going through the motions, and the second portion of the question these days, I added it in last year because in the UK it became a bit of an internet meme around encores and whether the time has passed. We called it Peekaboo for adults, if you get that reference, which is a game you play as obviously with a
yeah, of
baby.
course, of course.
And I'm split because there's a romance to an encore because there's something that you've become used to, and you know, there's that excitement waiting for the band to come back on. But equally, you know, I'm heading towards my 40s, unfortunately, not far off. And actually, I'd like to get to bed now. Like, if you could just hurry up and play the songs, like that'd be great. So I flip flop on what I think. What do you guys think, both for yourselves and obviously as people that would attend shows as well? You know, are you for encores, or do you think maybe actually we've outgrown them a little bit? What do you think?
It is a little bit cringy, in my opinion, like the whole encore thing. Unless, you know, there's a crowd out there that's just like screaming your name, going crazy for you to
Yeah.
come back out. There is a little bit of cringe behind it. So for us, really, we try and limit the cringe based even on how the venue is set up, based on the time of the show. If we're playing at midnight, we're not gonna like, you know, push the audience that far. But maybe, you know, we're like at 7 or like at 8 or at 9, and the venue is at such that maybe leaving and coming back on stage is simple, then
Exactly.
we might do it. We do it sometimes and we don't do it other times. It just goes on the feeling and where it kind of
Yeah,
feels cringy and where otherwise people really want you. They're waiting for you to come back out and you play.
exactly. If that makes sense, or like it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. That's just like how the vibes and the energies are for now. I mean, that's our first tour in Italy.
Yeah.
So that's everything. It's kind of a work in progress,
As it always should be. You should always, be
Exactly.
willing to learn, from your
Exactly,
experiences. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. And it's an organic approach, I would call it. Like you say, like it's not a steadfast rule that yes, we do them or no, we don't do them. You go on the feel of the night, and I think that's the right way ultimately. So yeah, no, great
Cool.
answers to the questions, and obviously great chat really overall. There's an exciting time for Stunt Pilots, and obviously listeners definitely need to jump on board, follow you on social media, check out everything we've talked about, because obviously there's going to be a lot more coming from you in the future, so they need to stay on top of it. I always like just to chuck the final message to the guests really. So what would be your final message for the listeners today?
So
Just be present in the moment. Believe that right now you can achieve whatever you want to set off to achieve. Try and fight fear, and try and fight the comfort. If it's a comfort that is settled in you being stuck in a rut with some problems, you gotta shift something and try and get out of it, because it's worth it to take that fight against being stuck in the autopilot. So do it. Just do it.
just do it.
You're not sponsored by Nike at all, are you?
Exactly. Or not yet.
Not yet, exactly. Nike, if you're listening, get on it. A beautiful final message. Thank you, all of you, for joining me on the podcast. It's been an
Thank you,
absolute delight.
Paul.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat there with Stunt Pilots. Do make sure you check out their single Sellout over on our Discover New Music playlist on Spotify. And of course, follow the band across social media to stay up to date with everything coming from them. You can also stay up to date with Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on Twitter and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. And finally, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Discover New Music podcast.